Hey, good Saturday to you. It's time once again for RFD Illinois. I'm DeLoss Yonke.
I'm Rita Frazier, and we have to talk about this. I don't think this is a topic that you and I have chatted about before.
Oh.
So get ready.
At all?
I don't think
Wow.
so. Maybe.
We still have new territory
Maybe.
to embark. Okay.
I mean, I don't know. I've always said, like green beans are my favorite vegetable.
Okay.
But wow, when you have fresh peas.
Yeah, you're losing me on that one.
I mean.
No, we have not talked about this.
Wow. Just fantastic. Fresh garden peas. I mean, if you have those, and I've seen a few folks on Facebook get them out of their garden, fresh snap peas, and then you pop that little pot open and you eat those. Those are fantastic.
I can see Mom right now.
Yes.
And I can certainly see Grandma right now.
Yes.
Snapping, and I hear the you can hear the crackling sound.
Yeah.
Big old wooden bushel basket.
Yes.
Were these yours, or were these from somewhere down the street?
Well, I just had these yesterday in the cafeteria. These were just from the salad bar.
Okay.
But they brought back a lot of good memories. Wow. And then how much I love peas.
Peas.
So.
Grandpa, on Mom's side, ate peas with a knife.
Really?
Somehow was able to put them on a knife. Arthur. Yep. Grandpa Volker. How about that? All right. Hey, that is a sign of summer right around the corner here.
There you go.
Plenty to come here on a Saturday, RFD, Illinois.
Farm Week and Partners Magazine editor Chris Anderson connects rural routes for you. Chris shares her 4 decades of writing expertise by making sure each edition delivers the best information. Here's a bit about her rural roots.
I was raised on a farm in Champaign County growing corn, soybeans, popcorn, pumpkins, and poultry. My top priority is to inform, educate, and even entertain Farm Bureau members.
Be it routes or roots, RFD Radio, FarmWeekNow.com, and Farm Week keep you connected.
We know you want the best for your family. We do too. That's why Illinois farmers continually look for new ways to help. We're working with Mother Nature to preserve water, protect land, and provide food. From our fields to your table, we want what's best for all of us and for future generations to come. Learn more about conservation efforts at ilfarmersconserve.com. Preserving our water, protecting our land, providing our food.
This message brought to you by Illinois Farm Bureau.
Welcome back to RFD Illinois on a Saturday. I'm DeLoss Yonke with our Washington correspondent Matt Kay. And a busy time, especially now that folks are back in D.C. and long-awaited disaster assistance. Looks like it's making some progress.
Yes. Yeah, the president signed it this past week. Finally, after 6 months of fighting between all the parties involved, a $19+ billion disaster aid bill badly needed for farmers and others in the Midwest, folks in the Southeast who got hit with hurricanes and tornadoes, folks in the West got hit by wildfires, and again, the Midwest victims of historic flooding. So this was welcome news. It finally passed the House this week. As folks know, there were 3 failed attempts in the House during the Memorial Day recess when conservatives blocked a unanimous consent that was needed to approve the Senate-passed measure while most of the members of the House were gone. And those objections were overcome again just a few days ago when most Republicans, a majority of Republicans, broke ranks with the conservative faction of the party and joined Democrats in giving the bill the 2/3 majority that was needed to pass this, again, $19 billion measure that includes $3 billion for farm-related losses of crops, dairy, on-farm, stored crops, prevented planting, help for livestock producers, and more. The legislation had been delayed by fights over Puerto Rico hurricane aid, the cost of the bill, which was unpaid for, although that's usually the case with these ad hoc disaster bills, and the issue of an administration request for more than $4 billion for humanitarian help dealing with a flood of migrants across the southern border. So that was good news this past week.
Sure. And then, so this goes back to maybe 8 days ago, but the E-15, yeah, that was a week ago Friday when that announcement took place.
Yeah, just in time for the beginning of the summer driving season on June 1st. That was the deadline to get this done. Now the retailers can sell E15 during the summer months as well as during the rest of the year, so you have year-round sales. The oil industry still plans to challenge this in court. However, the rule won't be stopped in court right away. It will continue to be implemented. Bill Wareham says he's the EPA Air Office chief that was responsible for promulgating this. We think it's going to provide substantial additional market opportunity for ethanol producers and be something that will immediately allow year-round sales for those stations that already sell E15. For those that don't, they will have to install the infrastructure, distribution system, in other words, the blending pumps and facilities that are needed to dispense E15. That will take some time, though. It won't happen overnight, he says, but over the long term, it should happen. There are now at least 1,500 stations that already pump E15 in the country, and this should certainly add to that. Good news for ethanol producers and corn growers. The only downside here, DeLoss, is that there is concern that a lot of ethanol demand was destroyed by these so-called small refinery hardship waivers that the ethanol industry claims the EPA abused in favor of the oil industry. But we asked Wareham about that, and he said categorically that EPA had not abused the waivers, that it was very careful in administering those waivers, although there continues to be a strong difference of opinion over this, and certainly about the need to recoup those lost billions of gallons, at least 1.5, maybe more billion gallons of ethanol demand that was lost.
Wow. Plenty of tariff talk still going on, especially with our big trading partner just south of us.
Yeah, those tariff talks are continuing, and we understand that there is progress being made. The only question now is can these 5% a month tariff hikes against Mexican goods be held off, at least temporarily, and hopefully the farm folks feel they want it permanently halted so they can get on with the business of doing trade and ratifying the U.S.-Mexico-Canada trade agreement.
Sounds good, Matt. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks so much, DeLoss.
Matt Kay in D.C. on RFD, Illinois.
You're going to need me.
You're going to need us.
All of us.
You're going to need our technical skills,
our math, our engineering skills.
You're going to need our help with your water, your air, your food.
You're going to need our organizational skills, our problem-solving skills.
You're going to need our determination, our honesty, our compassion.
You're going to need the next generation of leaders to face the challenges the future will bring.
And we promise we'll be there when you need us.
Today, 4-H is growing the next generation of leaders. Support us at 4h.org.
This is Let's Talk Horses on the RFD Radio Network. I'm Jason Vance. Joining me is Stacy Westfall, one of the best trainers and clinicians in the horse industry. We are going to visit about making trips with your horse away from home. Now, Stacy, there are a lot of challenges when you take a horse to a new environment, aren't there?
There are. Namely, there are a lot of distractions. And so it's important in your training at home, work your horse in a way that as the horse gets more comfortable with you, you can introduce a scary obstacle that you can kind of control. And then you kind of add one and then another. And then hopefully when you go and travel away from home, the different or unusual things that you run into actually cause the horse to look more to you as a leader.
Which, being in a new environment and a different place, can cause a lot of stress, and different horses have different signals to show that stress, don't they?
Yes. So hopefully when you've been doing your work at home, let's say you've introduced something new like a kiddie swimming pool or a tarp or something, you should be observing how the horse shows its reactions. Does it ring its tail? Does it get nervous and tend to duck out left or right? There's different things that different horses do. And so the better you get at figuring that out at home, the more prepared you're going to be for what it's going to do when you travel. And then you also are better prepared to handle that.
Now, some stress signals are real red flags that tell you, wait, what's going on here? But when people ignore those signals is usually when they get into trouble, isn't it?
Yes, people really need to get in the habit of figuring out, okay, so I'm unloaded from the trailer, my horse has started pawing, threatening to stomp on my foot, walking circles around me, pushing into me. These are all things that you need to have answers to for ways to get the horse busy, focus them, and get their mind back on you being the leader.
You said that if they're distracted, you need to make yourself more interesting. What do you mean by more interesting?
As in the last example, if you unload from the trailer and the horse is nervous and pushing into you and looking around and whacking into your head with its head because it's just not respecting your space, you need to say, I am more interesting, and you need to be able to send that horse out, maybe on a lunge circle, reverse directions. You need to be able to make the horse look to you for leadership, and that means that at home you had to do your homework, but now you need to step up as much as needed to get that horse's attention, because essentially if he's willing to run you over because of some other distraction, he's a little bit saying, you're not that interesting. And you need to say, I'm going to make myself big enough and interesting enough that you're going to look at me instead of whatever is distracting you.
Now, no matter how calm or controlled a horse is at home, traveling to a new place can cause them to pull back a little bit off of their training and what they've achieved. Can you explain that?
Typically, you can look at travel as two different things. When you go out there and you travel, the horses are going to slide back a little bit. So if you've got 80% control at home, some horses you're going to lose 10%, some you're going to lose 20%, meaning the distractions are going to make the training look like it's weaker. The other way you could also look at that same thing is it's an opportunity to strengthen that training. Maybe at home you don't have a reason to kind of step in and make more firm corrections, but when you traveled and that horse was under more stress and more likely to ignore you, it gives you the opportunity to step up and say, follow me, listen to me, and I mean it. In the long run, the travel can work into your program to help strengthen your training.
So what would you say are the keys to being successful when you are taking a trip away from home?
Have a plan for as much as you can possibly see. So if I were going to haul a horse to a different location, I typically have an idea about that location. I've probably been there before, and I typically know a little bit about the location, meaning, is there a place where I can do some groundwork? What's the footing like? Is it slippery, or is there a round pen or an arena there? Is there something enclosed so that you can get that horse busy when you get there, so that you can then give them a reward of stopping and standing still and relaxing? But knowing how to be proactive is key, because a lot of times people get there and the horse starts getting nervous and moving around, and the horse is almost taking control of the situation, and the person looks a little bit like a deer in the headlights, like, I've never met this horse before. I've never seen him act like this. I don't know what to do. And so you need to really try to stretch yourself to have a plan.
Well, Stacy, thank you so much for being with us today.
Well, thank you for having me.
That's Stacy Westfall. She's been our guest on Let's Talk Horses on the RFD Radio Network. Thank you so much for listening, and please join us next time for another edition of Let's Talk Horses.
Hello, America, and welcome to the Ag Resource Livestock Market Watch. I'm Nathan Losey with Ag Resource Company in Chicago. Ag Resource offers daily market updates via email, which feature all the latest market news, along with short and long-term price forecasts. Our reports feature in-depth coverage of livestock, grain, and oilseed markets, and also comprehensive farm marketing advice, so you can spend less time worrying about the markets and more time focused on your farm or ranch. Go to agresource.com, where you can get your first month subscription for just $1. Hog Futures marked another lower week of trade trade, with nearby June falling back under $80, leaving spot futures at the lowest level since the April expiration. Fundamentally, the hog supply remains record large, and to date there has not been any significant increase in export demand that is needed to offset years of industry expansion. Moreover, the first quarter rally to multi-year highs likely discouraged any plans to reduce sow breeding and farrowing rates. The cash market marked the third consecutive week down, which is likely confirming a seasonal top. Technically, June hogs have nearly retraced all the first quarter rally, while July hogs ended the week back under the 200-day moving average. Optimism for a China rally is steadily diminishing, and record supply is now driving cash and futures prices. Cattle futures were under pressure right from the open on Monday, with June cattle falling to new lows and then consolidating those losses through the rest of the week. Fundamentally, cattle on feed supplies are known to be record large, and the large supply continues to hang over beef prices. Overall weakness in the beef market has put a cap on slaughter margins and is also weighing on the cash cattle trade. Technically, spot futures have fallen back to the lowest level since last August as funds continue to unwind their still large net long cattle position. June cattle in the week near 107, with long-term support stretching back over the last 2 years noted under 105. In the near term, the cattle outlook is neutral. Prices are now very cheap, but with large supplies, the market does not yet have a reason to rally. Until next time, I'm Nathan Losey, and thanks for listening this week to the Ag Resource Livestock Market Watch.
Listening to RFD Illinois, let's break now for markets and weather.
For University of Illinois Extension, I'm Todd Gleason. The weather is next.
From the State Climatologist Office for the Illinois State Water Survey at the University of Illinois Prairie Research Institute, this is Brian Kirshner. May 2019 finished exceptionally wet and stormy across Illinois, with temperatures near the long-term average. The final average statewide temperature for May was 62.5 degrees, which is just 0.2 degrees below average. Final average statewide precipitation for May was 7.93 inches, which is 3.33 inches above the long-term average. This marks 6 consecutive months with above-average precipitation in Illinois and ranks May 2019 as the 4th wettest May in state history. The springtime, March through May, statewide average precipitation total of 16.54 inches also ranks spring 2019 as the 4th wettest spring in state history. Extended stretches of active and stormy weather have continued to lead to flooding concerns along local streams and rivers, with flood warnings remaining in effect along both the Illinois and Mississippi rivers until further notice. In the near term, expect seasonable temperatures this weekend, with highs in the upper 70s and 80s and lows in the 50s and 60s, with chances for scattered showers and storms, especially in eastward and southern portions of the state. Looking ahead, the Climate Prediction Center's 6 to 10-day outlook favors strong probabilities of below-average temperatures, along with increased probabilities of wetter-than-average conditions for northern Illinois and probabilities for drier-than-average conditions for southern Illinois. This is Brian Kirshner from the State Climatologist Office.
And I'm Todd Gleason. For U of I Extension, you have a great and a very safe week.
Let's check the markets with Dale Durkle, Senior Analyst at AgriVisor. For the week, Dale, we gave back close to half of what we gained the week before.
Yeah, you know, this last week, really, what you started to see unfold, and at some point things do change, but the weather game started to shift at this point, you know, and just looking back, central Illinois, where we had been bogged down so badly, parts of Indiana even, you know, we had really what I'd say for planting season, albeit extremely late, a better weather week, and I think that really is the big story here at this point, is that weather that basically had been stalling progress in some of the major areas finally shifted and opened up a window. Still had problems northern Illinois, still had problems southern Illinois, still had problems in parts of Indiana and Ohio, but we moved forward. At the same time, those longer range weather forecasts started to suggest, you know, the 6 to 10 day in particular, we were going to be normal to maybe a little bit drier than normal across parts of the Midwest. So with all of that, you know, it looks ahead and, you know, says, well, we can get some corn planting wrapped up in some areas. We can really make some good progress on beans. And you basically just pulled the weather game out from under the market, and so we ended up a little weak. Even looking at wheat, where we had some losses this week, whether you talk about Kansas City or Chicago, same story. Down in the Southern Plains, we saw an end to some of this real heavy weather that we had down in there at that point. So, again, weather really was kind of taken out of the mix. A lot of announcements as far as government programs, a lot of confusion about what they mean, and that's been a little bit unsettling. But right now it looks like the way the government's moving, they're trying to move in a direction that they're not going to impede the farmer's decision to want to plant crops, whatever that may be, whether it's corn or whether it's beans.
Neil Dirkholz at AgriVisor.
When it comes to social media, Sabrina Berkowitz connects rural routes for you. Sabrina covers a broad range of ag topics, so Farm Bureau members are the first to know about key issues. Here's a bit about her rural roots.
I grew up with a grain and livestock farm in my extended family, and today I really enjoy helping people learn how to use social media to advocate for agriculture.
Be it routes or roots, RFD Radio, FarmWeekNow.com, and Farm Week keep you connected.
As you prepare for planting season, remember your neighbors. Whether you're an applicator, grower, or beekeeper, use FieldWatch to register your farm and monitor for sensitive sites around you. FieldWatch is a free, easy-to-use online mapping tool. Consulting FieldWatch is now a requirement for the over-the-top use dicamba products. Communicating with your neighbors will help you protect your farm and the environment. Don't wait. Go online to fieldwatch.com. Growing agriculture. We grow best together.
Look up, look down, look around, look up, look down, look around, in the trees and on the ground, 'cause ALB must be found.
If you're hearing this, you should be concerned about the Asian longhorn beetle, an invasive species that's destroying our trees. But you can help. Look for the signs and help stop the beetle.
Look up, look down, look around, look up, look down, look around, in the trees and on the ground, 'cause ALB must be found.
Some signs of the ALB are dime-sized holes on tree trunks, a sawdust-like material called frass, and the beetle itself, with a long black body and white spots.
Look up, look down, look around, look up, look down, look around, in the trees and on the ground, 'cause ALB must be found.
Learn all the signs and how to report them at AsianLonghornedBeetle.com. That's AsianLonghornedBeetle.com.
The Arthur Knights.
That'll do it for RFD Illinois. Arthur Knights. What are the
Arthur Knights. The Arthur Knights in Arthur, Illinois. That's their mascot.
That's the mascot?
Go Knights.
So we mentioned Grandpa Arthur.
Yes.
So we salute Arthur, which is both in Douglas and Moultrie County.
And home of a bunch of my relatives named Vanasdahl.
Vanasdahl.
Mm-hmm.
That's Yoder's, isn't it? Isn't that the cafeteria?
Yoder's is the cafeteria.
Yeah.
Gravy.
Sponsored by Country. Your farm is your family's legacy, part of your hometown heritage. While you work sun up to sundown to get the job done, we're here protecting the things you love every step of the way. Country Financial. Learn more at countrycrops.com.
I'm Rita Frazier.
I'm DeLoss Yalke. Have a great weekend.